Alright, welcome everyone to the third Formula 1 Grand Prix review on my stream and the YouTube channel. For anyone who doesn't know, after each Grand Prix weekend for Formula 1, I do a bit of a review on my stream and then break it up into a YouTube video for the YouTube channel. Pretty much what that entails is live race reactions from the Watchalong on the stream, as well as we'll be going through a bunch of videos from the Formula 1 Grand Prix weekend and discussing certain things that happen. Then we'll get into a Reddit recap, and then we'll be checking out F1 Fantasy and F1 Play. Pretty much a review discussion of the Grand Prix weekend as a whole. But yeah, let's get into the live race reactions from the Watchalong. Good. All right, Alonso, please don't improve. Please don't improve, Alonso. Yes. Okay, good. Ferraris are good. Let's go. And they're on the meds. This is good for Ferraris tomorrow. Ooh, that's almost made Q3 on meds. Oh, he's on sauce. 18.2 would have put him where? Wow, would have put him on pole. Okay. So Max would have been on pole. I mean, obviously, he did invalid, but I don't think it would have given him that much time. Hello? We're half the time. That was the worst broadcast I've seen. Where are the laps? We didn't see Leclerc, Gasly, Sainz, any of them do a lap. Okay, well, Bottas on pole. 3 different races, 3 different pole sitters. Okay, that was really weird qualifying ending. We only saw laps from 3 drivers. I hate when people don't improve in Q3. And we're off. Leclerc's already Sainz already mugged off Perez. No first lap crash yet. The soft guy's mugging off Perez. Oh, nice push out wide to be sure to. Oh, wait, huge wing damage. Kimi's out. First retirement. That's going to be a safety car. He's cruising. Wonder how he got that. He would have had to have hit someone's ass, right? Interesting. All right. This race could get very interesting now. Let's see what happened. Oh, he pulled out on his teammate. His teammate pulled out. Tough.
There's no DRS involved, so he got such a slipstream.
He just drove into him. He didn't even pull over. Giovinazzi pulled over. That is boomer 40-year-old reaction time right there. Actual wash reaction times. He didn't even. What? They both didn't even move their lines. Oh my lord. Oh, he's holding them up. This is going to be chaos. He's gone. Perez on Verstappen. Verstappen past Hamilton. Let's go. Sainz, go. Oh no, Sainz is thrown. He's thrown. Sainz went deep trying to overtake Perez and lost down on Ocon. Lando on Perez. There goes Lando Norris down the inside. Is that Charles? No, Sainz. Charles getting past Ocon. Norris up at a 4. What's happening? I guess the soft runners. And there, down the inside. Nice. Looking good on the meds. Let's go. Hamilton's on Verstappen now. Verstappen again get DRS. On lap 11 of 66. Here comes Hamilton. How did Verstappen not get DRS? Hamilton retakes that second place as Verstappen go. He's fighting back. Into turn 4. Hamilton just rude. That's rude. I think Verstappen must have made a mistake because he lost DRS. He's going to get him here. Hamilton's got DRS. He's within touching distance of his teammate. He's ahead. Oh, that was tight. You got it done, though. Dude, that camera angle makes that shit look so tight.
Really gone heavily right, look. So he's pinched himself into turn 1.
Lewis getting his elbows out. Fucking squeezing Bottas into that yellow curb. But Verstappen's tires should be warm. Look at him. Gaining. Verstappen should be able to get him here. Oh my god. He's everywhere. Nice. Straight away. Bottas can't handle those tires. He's going so wide. Oh my lord. He cannot drive on those hards. Dude, they're going to have to give a warning to Lewis. Don't be an idiot on the hards. This may be a good undercut from Max. If he can keep the speed up, he could catch up to Hamilton's DRS, hopefully. Down the main straight we go. Alonso's pulling it out. And gets the fast lap. Nice. I genuinely just think this was a good track for Mercedes. I don't think... Yes, they've definitely improved their car, but I don't think it's enough to be like, oh my god, Merc dominance is back or anything like that at all. Oh, he lost the fastest lap. Bottas takes the fastest lap. Okay. It's only 1 point, but still. There we go. Portuguese Grand Prix is donezo. So yeah, it was a pretty interesting Grand Prix. Obviously not as good as the Bahrain or the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Nowhere near. But that's what Formula One is like. You know, we're going to have fantastic Grand Prix. We're going to have average Grand Prix. For me, though, this Grand Prix, although it wasn't the best, it was definitely much better than a typical 2019 or 2020 Grand Prix, in my opinion. Like, we have a championship fight at the front. You're always on the edge of your seat. Like, is Max going to win? Is Lewis going to win? Is Bottas going to do something? Is Perez going to do something? Always the entire race. And I feel like that's going to carry out through the rest of the season. We also have a banging midfield. And all those combined, I feel, makes a much better Grand Prix than a typical 2019 or 2021. When I say typical, I mean like the average 2019, 2020 Grand Prix. I feel like no matter what, this season, we're going to have good Grand Prix. Even if the race is boring, there's still like deep stories and the championship fight as well on the line. Yeah, let's start it off with watching the race highlights from the Grand Prix. So surprisingly, no accidents on the first lap, which was, yeah, very surprising. Perez was just dropping back and back on those meds. Lando got up some good places as well. Obviously, very confusing when this happened. Raikkonen just drove into the back of Giovinazzi. Okay, Giovinazzi went over to the right, and he did very, very slightly move. Right there, you saw that. Very, very slightly move back over to the left. But he didn't move over to the left enough for it to even affect Raikkonen. Raikkonen just straight lined to the back of Giovinazzi. It was literally boomer reaction times. I don't know what the fuck he was up to. Obviously, I was fucking hyped for the restart. We had the first two laps of that Grand Prix were great. So Max getting past Lewis straight away. And at this point, I knew there was going to be a great battle on our hands. Now, for everyone, you know, I've obviously seen a lot of people on Twitter and stuff and Discord and all that talking about how this Grand Prix was boring, shit, terrible, whatever. Yeah, like I said before, like, I feel like no matter what, when we have a average Grand Prix like we did with the Portuguese Grand Prix, it's always going to be somewhat good because of the championship battle and the fight that's on the line, and like not knowing who's going to win out of the 3 top dogs. You could argue 2, you could even argue 4 top dogs depending on the race and stuff like that. But yeah, like at this point in time, we're already 10 laps deep. We've had some great opening laps, and then we've got another for the rest of the Grand Prix. We've got this battle between Bottas, Verstappen, and Hamilton on our line, on our hands. And you know, as you know from the end of the race, it ends up being completely switched. Hamilton P1, Verstappen P2, Bottas P3, and we got to see that throughout the whole Grand Prix, sitting on the edge of our seats, seeing like who is going to win this race and when are they going to do the overtakes on one another. Yeah, for me it was really interesting. Like, you know, seeing that gap close and then spread and then close and spread. Like, yes, it wasn't an insane amount of overtakes, but the midfield really made up for that, in my opinion.
Ahead of the Red Bull, and that move started.
And yeah, so with that move, I don't know, I felt like all the overtakes for the places were all done on the same corner, and I really don't like this track. I didn't like it last year, and I didn't like it this year either. I think in the F1 game it will be sick, but in real life, it's just, I don't know, it's got some great elements to it, but that main straight is, I just feel like it's so easy to overtake, and all the cars defended on the inside, and the other car went around the outside, easy ass overtake. The straight's so long that the DRS is just so powerful. Yeah, I mean, it was easy done for Hamilton. And Hamilton edging him off the track. Obviously allowed to do that. It's too much of an easy overtaking corner. Look at this straight. Like, you've got DRS, you're 100% going to get them. Look at that. It's so long. Of course you're going to get the driver in front of you. Around the outside. I mean, it's a very nice overtake, squeezing him off into that corner to get a better line. But at the end of the day, it's just made so easy with the long straight. Really nice from Lewis. And Bottas made a really dumb mistake being so tight there. So Red Bull went for the undercut here. This is the other entertaining point for me, was went for the pit stops. Decent stop from Merck, brought him out in front, but those cold tires, he just couldn't manage. So squirrely. Alonso with a great comeback drive. Some nice overtakes as well. And this was cool to see as well. Mick actually fighting someone for a place rather than just at the back by himself. Not even with Mazepin. And quickly to talk about the pit stops. I hate when teams risk a pit stop to get fastest lap. Especially when they're in a podium position. Both Bottas and Verstappen risked it. I mean, at the end of the day, they trust their mechanics, so fair enough, go and do it. But you see way too many mechanical pit stop failures that it just seems so risky to me. But yeah, obviously Bottas stole the fucking fastest lap, and then Verstappen stole it back, as we'll see in a sec. He was molding in the post-race interview. Max was molding. Yeah, so going back to look at the standings, obviously Lewis, great drive from him, you know, starting in P2, falling back to P3, and grinding his way back past Verstappen and Bottas to get the win. Good drive from him. I do feel Verstappen got held up a lot behind Bottas, but at the end of the day, I think the mellowness of the Grand Prix came down to the fact that, one, the track is pretty sucky, but two, Merck is slightly more favorable here than Red Bull, I think. And yeah, good drive from Lewis. Max tried his hardest, but he just couldn't do anything. He was stuck behind Bottas for so long, whether it was the dirty air, the lack of pace with the Honda engine, just couldn't get past Bottas in time. Bottas, you know, typical Bottas race, starting pole, drops back to P3. Yeah, didn't show anything special that race. Perez, he dropped back 10 seconds behind the leading three quite early on the Grand Prix, having a tussle with all the midfield guys. But decent Grand Prix from him, you know, from all three races so far, maybe apart from Imola, but at Bahrain and Portugal now, I feel like we can safely say, as of right now, he's doing much better than Gasly and Albon did in the Red Bull. And yeah, that's great to see. He went for the very, very long stint to try hold up Hamilton, and Hamilton got past instantly. But yeah, Lando, once again, best of the rest, I believe. He's been best of the rest all three races now. He's killing it in that car. I don't think the McLaren was good this weekend. They even said it themselves that they were going to struggle, and man, did he do good in that car. Leclerc, pretty standard finish for him. I believe he made up, was it 2 places? Yeah, starting on the med tires. I mean, he did good considering where Sainz finished. Ocon and Fernando Alonso following Leclerc. Great weekend from Alpine. I mean, Alpine, you know, high hopes for Alpine this year. Renault last year did really, really good, and Alpine's not shown anything this year. And then this race, they came in and get a 7th and 8th place. Ocon dropping back a place, I believe, but Alonso making up quite a few. So yeah, good race from Alpine. I'm hoping that continues for the rest of the season. I'm hoping it's not just a one-off Portugal or a few tracks that they're good at. What I learned from this weekend with Alpine is their engine is so good. Like, that straight. Like, when we get to Belgium and Azerbaijan, I can see Alpine killing it there if they continue to develop their car. Ricciardo from P16 to P9. Decent drive from him. I see a lot of people praising him. You know, fantastic drive from Ricciardo, driver of the day, blah, blah, blah. In my opinion, I don't like giving driver of the day to drivers who get an average finishing place or not even a good finishing place. Like, you know, oh my God, Ricciardo made up 7 places, but he made up 7 places on cars he should have been beating anyway. Like, for me, driver of the day and a good drive is when you push that car to its limits, you know, overtake people who you should be overtaking, or, you know, you around your car's pace. I mean, Ricciardo, yeah, good weekend, good, decent finish, good for where he started, but yeah, definitely not a fantastic drive. Like, for him to recover from that awful qualifying, he really needed to get like a P7 or a P6 for me, at least. So yeah, P9, decent from Ricciardo. And then Gasly, yeah, a very weird weekend. I thought the AlphaTauri was going to do good this weekend, but as we heard in the post-race show from Kvyat, the Honda engine, specifically the AlphaTauri, is not good at these like mid-speed corner tracks. These long, I don't know what they're called specifically. The long swooping corners. So yeah, Gasly having a bit of a weird one. And then Sainz, pretty bad Grand Prix from him. I mean, starting P5 was it, and ending in P11. Yes, he was on the softs at the start of the race in comparison to his teammate Leclerc on meds, but Ocon and Gasly were also on softs, and he finished behind both of them. So yeah, pretty tough race from Sainz. Giovinazzi had a good weekend this weekend, finishing 12th ahead of all those guys. Vettel dropping 3 places, but then again, he was on a pretty bad strategy. It was always going to happen, and he's not in the upgraded car. Stroll, pretty awful weekend from him in the upgraded Aston Martin. I mean, I don't know if it's specifically Stroll's fault. I mean, his qualifying was pretty bad in comparison to Vettel, but that Aston Martin just isn't looking good this year. And I mean, those upgrades to Stroll's car didn't seem to do much. Tsunoda, I mean, first time ever at this track for him. Pretty tough weekend from him. Russell starting 11th, finishing 16th. I guess that's expected for a Williams, but he did make a few mistakes, I believe, on those opening laps. Then we have Mick Schumacher actually fighting someone and overtaking Latifi. So I'm looking forward to see that Williams-Haas fight for the rest of the season. Latifi having a pretty average Grand Prix. And then a big talking point for some people, Schumacher a minute off of Mick Schumacher. Not only was he not fighting the Williams like Mick was, but he was a minute off of Mick. That's pretty tough to see. Pretty poor weekend from Mick. Considering he didn't spin, from what I remember, or have any damage, to finish a minute off your teammate is pretty tough. Oh, did I say Schumacher a minute off Mick? Well, I meant Mazepin a minute off of Schumacher. Yeah, to quickly talk about the Verstappen lap deletion for his fastest lap. From what I've been told, they weren't looking at turn 14 all weekend. There's not even like a sensor there. It took a steward to actually watch his lap and say, nah, that was wide. Delete it. So that's pretty interesting. Some steward, I guess, these guys were going for fastest lap and wanted to make sure they were all valid. So that's good of the FIA. But I hope they did that for everyone's lap. For Bottas's fastest lap at least, and not just doing it for Verstappen. But we'll never know, I guess. Yeah, to quickly talk about the driver of the day stuff. The reason why Sergio got driver of the day was because Mazepin actually got driver of the day, and obviously he doesn't deserve driver of the day with his his race necessarily. Yeah, it's fan voted at the end of the day, but he didn't deserve driver of the day, so they gave it to the second place driver of the day, which was Sergio. But obviously all the votes were skewed at that point because millions of people were voting Mazepin because apparently that's fucking hilarious to give driver of the day to someone who doesn't deserve it. Yeah, I think that shit's so cringe, and I'm worried that they're going to get rid of driver of the day. Not that driver of the day is that important, but you know, they might end up removing driver of the day because people are manipulating it for lol, funny Mazepin, lol. I was just thinking before, like, with Perez, after each race, I keep thinking, like, how is there one Red Bull always at the front fighting and the other Red Bull is nowhere to be seen? But all 3 races, apart from moments at Imola, all 3 races, his pace is on par with the Mercs and Verstappen. He's just having, you know, Imola spinning a lot, you know, wet race, Bahrain obviously being at the back due to qualifying, and then this race just getting stuck with the midfield guys and losing so much time and being on those meds for so long. But his pace is looking good. We just need a Grand Prix where he doesn't get cucked and we can just see him versus Max and versus Lewis and versus Bottas, because I generally think he'll be faster than Bottas once he starts getting more up to speed and getting less cucked.
I think after 10 laps...
Good, well said from Giovinazzi, really. I mean, like, it was a good weekend from him. Like, Giovinazzi is there to capitalize on mistakes, and if there was any crashes, he would have got points. For him to finish P12, great. You know, he got past Vettel, who started way in front of him. But every driver in front was in a much, much better car. So, good weekend from Giovinazzi. We should have a new category called Best of the Worst. So, we've got the top dogs, we've got Best of the Rest, and then Best of the Worst. So, Best of the Worst being Alfa Romeo, Aston Martin, Williams, and Haas. And he was Best of the Worst this weekend. Unfortunately, the audio got muted here for a minute because I started playing music. But we didn't miss much. All I said was we're getting to the Reddit recap now. So we'll be sorting the Formula 1 subreddit by the top posts from the last week and just checking out everything like we do in each Grand Prix review. This is so cringe to me. I talked about this in my Discord. 23,000 upvotes, hundreds of awards for Mazepin spinning off in the gravel in practice. Like, you know, we talked about this in the last Grand Prix review. It's so cringe to me. Like, so many people were spinning at Portugal. Probably 10 plus drivers were spinning off in practice. Why does Mazepin's one get 23,000? Like, is it really like, it hasn't got anything to do with how he spun or anything. It's just, he's getting upvoted because people don't like him. It's ridiculous. I don't know. He locks up his tires.
Well,
yeah, so we were talking about this earlier. It is Mazepin's fault, but it's not at the same time. Like, his engineer should be telling him, you know, he made a mistake and he owned it after the race, which is good to hear. But, you know, like, he's got to be a bit more careful, you know. You got a Red Bull coming up behind you. Surely you see that. Even if your engineer doesn't tell you, sure you see a Red Bull coming up behind you. But, you know, at the end of the day, he's a rookie. He's making a mistake, but he's just making so many of them. Mercedes pit crew members helmet reflects an image of the W12. That's pretty cool. That's a sick photo. Never got the chance to see Ayrton Senna, and I don't think I've watched a single race from Ayrton's time racing, but obviously I've heard many things about him, and it was obviously very sad how he died. He didn't get to finish or complete his F1 career. Hamilton on Perez, blue flag. Yeah, this is funny.
Blue flags. Nope, you're racing him. He's yet to stop.
Straight.
That was good. Turkey joins the calendar in place of Canada on June 11th to 13th. We're looking forward to seeing the return of the Canadian Grand Prix in 2022, which also has signed a 2-year track extension. Yeah, so obviously not really to do with the Portuguese Grand Prix itself, but yeah, Canada, I don't think it's a bad track. I think it's a good track. I'm sad that we're gonna miss it again this year, but at the same time, Turkey was a fantastic Grand Prix last season, and for anyone of you who don't know, Turkey was my favorite Grand Prix last season. It was S tier, but also just my favorite all-round, better than Sakira in my opinion. Whether that was because of the wet track or not, who knows? We're gonna have to wait and see for this race. The track itself has just a really, really good layout and a lot of history as well, so I'm keen to have Turkey back this year, and I God hope they add it to the F1 game, please. Lewis Hamilton with the Mercedes AMG Project 1. Ooh, that is a hard looking photo. Look at that. That's a mean car. He's looking mean. Oh, that's a nice photo. Breaking. Sprint qualifying is coming to 2021. There will be a brand new structure at 3 race weekends this season. Now, we did a whole hour and a half discussion on our stream about this last week when this was first announced. I'm not going to get into too much detail because, yeah, again, an hour and a half conversation already about it. But just a quick rundown of my thoughts. I'm looking forward to seeing how sprint qualifying goes for the 3 races this season. I'm happy they're only doing it at 3 races and not doing an entire season, or, you know, it's good that F1's testing things and think about new ideas. But I generally don't like the new format, and I don't see the reasons why they're doing it. It's illogical to me why they would do it. Like, their reason being Friday, they want more eyes on Friday, but then they're just putting qualifying there while people are at work and school. So yeah, looking forward to seeing how it goes. I'm keen for the 3 weekends that it's at to see how much more exciting it is. The reasons for it is just illogical, and I think it takes away from the Grand Prix and qualifying, honestly. Local artists drawing on a football pitch in Portimao. Even legends have heroes. This is a sick art, especially doing it on a, you know, this scale on a football pitch. That's sick. That's sick. That is really sick. Turkish GP manager hits out at Drive to Survive. Yes, they film plenty of footage. However, what they show depends on money deals. If a sponsor pays them extra, they feature races where that sponsor's team performed well. Having the best race in 2020 means nothing to them. For them, cash is king. Okay, so I didn't know that about Drive to Survive. That's a bit annoying when you think about it. Schumacher's overtaken on Latifi.
I think for this young man,
Latifi locking up,
but not in the Haas.
getting past pretty easily for Schumacher.
Didn't tell me that. Yeah, he's probably gonna block me. I got blocked, of course. What
Wow.
idiot. This guy's a fucking idiot, like.
Latifi boarding? I did not know this happened. That's kind of dog, dude. That's kind of dog.
Okay, sorry for that. Had to happen at some point.
Get ever more complex.
Sorry.
So,
I was wondering why there's nobody there.
Fine-tuning.
I don't know how this happens. This clearly says McLaren,
Sorry for that.
and there's clearly Aston Martin pit crew
I
ahead.
was wondering.
That's a ploy. That was ploy to get Aston Martin on the TV for a few minutes, I reckon. There's no way. There's no way. Max Verstappen's post-race interview this morning. This is funny.
They were not checking track limits in 14, but whatever.
Well, on to the next race. How's your feeling? Do you think this was
Good board. I like it. I like it. Onward with Jean, Dennis, Delatrez at the Monaco. I'm so sorry. That scared the shit out of me. Oh my lord. Who the fuck uploaded this video? Alright, that wraps up the Reddit recap. Let's have a look at our F1 Fantasy and F1 Play. Starting off with our F1 Fantasy. Now, I don't know if that's a good week or not. I don't know if it's a good week or not. I decided to go with all my eggs in the Red Bull basket. Reason being, I think Red Bull was a safe pick this weekend. Yes, Mercedes looked better, but for what I could afford, I think going with 2 Red Bulls and a Red Bull team was safe, unless it was a retirement. This is where everything else went wrong. I went with Gasly. Maybe that was an alright pick. I'm not sure. I could have probably gone with Lando instead. But coming into the race, I honestly thought McLaren were going to be weak. Lando ended up doing good, so maybe it was bad not having Lando on my team. But yeah, Gasly, 10 points, not too bad, I guess. Russell, he obviously dropped quite a few places, so he didn't end up getting 10 points like he probably should have. Yeah, only 3 for Russell. And then the big letdown was Sainz. You know, starting P5, had some good points for quali, and then let it all down, dropping out of the points, dropping heaps of places. Yeah, Sainz was the big letdown for the team this week. But let's see how we did in comparison to everyone else. Alright, so leading the championship, leading the league still is Alpha Doofius in terms of people who have used their Mega Driver. His team this week was Leclerc Turbo Driver, Norris, Verstappen, Gasly, Sainz, McLaren. Well, okay, my team was going to be similar to this, but I think it was Perez and Red Bull. So that would have been pretty good, actually. And leading, who haven't used their Mega Driver yet, is Big Seb. What did he do this week? Verstappen, Schumacher, Leclerc, Norris Turbo, Gasly, Red Bull. That's a good team. Where are we sitting in the championship, though? We're sitting 58th. Holy fuck, we're way down. Who are we between? We're between King J and Liam right now. Eddie's close by, Mr. Penguin as well. If we have a look, we're on 487 points. To the next person who's not used the Mega Driver is, well, obviously the leader, Seb. So we're 100 points behind right now. That's tough. But we've got 20 races left this season. We can always catch up. But yeah, let's have a look at F1 Play real quick. Now, I was having issues getting my F1 Play team in, so I don't think it went through. Oh, it did. Thank God. It did go through. So we got 4 out of 10. No one got 10 out of 10. No one got 9 out of 10. Only 0.05 got 8 out of 10. So let's have a quick look at our results for that. All right, so we got Lewis Hamilton, Max, and Bottas all right. but damn, I'm good. We missed out on Bottas fastest lap. I was thinking doing Bottas fastest lap. I assumed he was going to have an issue and then come back later on in the Grand Prix and get fastest lap, which he kind of ended up doing. But Max did get fastest. I would have got that right, but obviously he got invalid. I chose Leclerc to finish highest. Obviously didn't expect the McLaren to do so good this weekend. I picked Russell. I was hoping Russell was going to get his first points this weekend, but yeah, Williams did not look good and the Alpines did. Giovinazzi had a good weekend, so I missed out on that. First to retire, obviously this is just fucking throw a random name out there. I went with Stroll because he was having a bad weekend, ended up being Raikkonen. I went with 17 finishes. I didn't expect there to be many retirements day. I expected the Grand Prix to be exactly how it was. I wasn't going to do safety car at first, but then I thought, the win, someone was probably going to go off, and there ended up being a safety car in the end, but only one retirement, and then the winning margin I thought was going to be 2.5 to 4.5, but Max kind of threw that down the drain when he pit for the fastest lap. So yeah, not too bad in F1 play, I guess. Let's have a look at the league. If we go to Portugal, hey, we finished second. So first was Matthew Willis, then myself, and then yeah, everyone else following. We got a bunch of 0 out of 10 noobs. Look at all these noobs. But yeah, guys, that's going to conclude the review of the Formula 1 Portuguese Grand Prix. I love doing this every week, like I've said. But yeah, overall, it was a decent Grand Prix. It wasn't anything spectacular like the last two, but it wasn't as boring or as bad as a typical 2019 or 2020 Grand Prix where nothing really happens. We had that championship fight, great midfield like we did last year as well. And yeah, I think it was just the track just wasn't a good one for Formula 1. And, you know, obviously the Mercedes, I think, just slightly outdoing the Red Bull made it a bit of a typical Mercedes dominant Grand Prix. They didn't dominate, but it was like, you know, there's that little edge which made it just slightly boring. But yeah, moving on next week to Spain. This week, we've got a double header back to back. Moving on to this week to Spain. The rest of the season is looking to be a cracking one. You know, we've got a championship fight at the front. Right now, Lewis is 2-1 to Max. And we've had 3 different drivers have pole positions. So yeah. Came for this week's Spanish Grand Prix. Like usual, watch along on the stream for practice 1, practice 2, practice 3, qualifying, and the race. So yeah, be sure to tune on the stream if you want to sync up with myself and chat and watching that and reacting and discussing all from the Grand Prix weekend, as well as obviously the build up for the Grand Prix and the review on Monday like we usually do. Yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.